It's time to get started. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's give everybody a few seconds to get here. Make sure everybody knows. Uh-oh. I'm trying to type to the Discord community to let them know that we're all live. And you know, I always joke about being such a boomer. I'm not actually that old, but man, it's weird because when I was younger, I never had any problems with technology. I was really good. I had way back in the day before smartphones or anything like that existed, we had to type on the little tin keypad, and I could type out messages on that while I wasn't looking. Because, in school, you want to send a message, you got to do it quick under the desk, still in your pocket, something like that. I was really good at that. And now that I have these fancy smartphones, I start typing stuff and my fingers are slip sliding everywhere. All my messages end up having typos, which works out fine because then it looks the same whether I'm sober or drunk. Speaking of which, welcome to Live with Jack. This is episode number 55, Live with Jack number 55. I'm Jack, and this is going to be the very best part of your day, of your week, maybe even of your entire life. However, if you would like to truly enjoy this stream, if you'd like to get the full amount out of it and reach the heights of humanity, the culmination of all of civilization, all you need to do is find yourself something to drink. Could be anything that you like. For me today, I have a nice glass of beer. And join me now as we lift our glasses in a glorious and fantastic cheers with chaps. Go. Cheers. Now you may be wondering to yourself, Papa Jack, normally you don't drink on these streams except for, on the special occasions. Is today a special occasion? Well, kind of. Because today is the first day warm enough in South Korea that I don't have to wear pants and I can actually just wear shorts. So I've got on my party shorts, my chicken and hot sauce party shorts. And I have a friend coming in from out of the country. This is a friend I haven't seen in years. He was a buddy that lived near me back when I was being a homeless busker. If you guys have heard that story, then you'll know a little bit more about that. And on top of that, I wasn't out drinking yesterday, so I'm not hungover today. So you get the best of all the worlds. You get Sober Jack to start, and then you get to see the progressively more interesting and entertaining Drinking Jack. So, yes, Coot, cheers to you, my man. Cheers to you. What are you drinking today, buddy? I'll wait for him to respond. It's late for your first day in shorts here. Man, maybe down in Daejeon where you are, but up here in Seoul, today's the first day warm enough that I don't have to wear a jacket outside. It's just been a miserable spring. By the way, for you guys who don't know, Korea claims to have 4 seasons. They absolutely do not. They do not. They have 5.5 months of summer, 5.5 months of winter, and then a 2-week spring and a 2-week fall in between each two. Just like a transition period. It is not 4 seasons. But let's go ahead and get into today's lesson. You're on water. Wow, look at you, Mr. Healthy Guy on the water. Well, that's probably better for you. I mean, given that it's 2 p.m. on a Thursday. But that doesn't stop me. So, drinking. Now, today's topic. I want to go ahead and jump into this because this is kind of a big one. The topic that we went with today is, why can't I talk to girls? This is an issue that a lot of guys have. Even if they don't phrase it exactly like that, they all feel that there's some sort of issue, something that's stopping them. By the way, total aside, before we get too far into the lesson, I want to point out something. I told Lady North that I was thinking about decorating the background a little bit better to make it more interesting for these live streams. And so I came in yesterday and she had put up this Mickey and Minnie sitting on a construction site eating lunch poster. And I thought, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's a good start. Is there a winter here not for Canadians? You can get right the hell out of here with that, Coot. I'm not having any of that. It gets cold as shit here, and I do not like it. So, back on track to where I was. Guys have issues with talking to girls. A lot of them feel like there's some sort of distance or some sort of barrier between them that stops them from having comfortable and casual conversations with women. Now, of course, whenever they want to talk to girls, they want to talk to them to try and develop some kind of relationship, whether it's getting her number or taking her on a date or getting a kiss or getting laid or whatever it is. But usually when guys have issues with talking to girls, it's because they're trying to develop something like that. And so I'm going to go through some of the mistakes that guys make and how to fix each of them in a way that's going to help you to be able to better talk to the women in your life. So let's just go ahead and get started. The first thing you need to focus on is you need to focus on your self-assuredness. Now, a lot of people call this confidence. You can call it self-assuredness. You can call it whatever you want. But the basic premise behind this, I know confidence is one of those throwaway words, right? Where people say, oh, you want to talk to women, just be confident. And you're like, I don't even know what that means or how to do that. What does any of that mean? I think it's easier to think about it as self-assuredness rather than confidence, because confidence gets used in so many different fields and in so many different ways that it doesn't really have any meaning anymore. It's kind of like the idea of like racist. What is racist? Well, there was a meaning for it, but then it just gets used on everything and now it lacks any real meaning whenever it gets used. Same thing with confidence. So instead, let's talk about, got Simba hairs in my eyes. Let's talk about self-assuredness. The idea that you are saying what you want to say, what you mean to say with a reason, and you know what it is. The difference between somebody who's maybe just hesitantly feeling out a conversation and making some suggestions to see what kind of reactions the other person gives, things like that, that's the opposite of self-assuredness. Instead, what you're going for is you're going for a feeling that whenever you're talking, the other person knows, okay, hey, cut that shit out. Knows, hey, this guy knows what he's saying. He knows what he's talking about. Or he doesn't know, but he's willing to admit it, willing to say it. If somebody asks me, like, what do you think the pros and cons are of defending Taiwan against China? I don't really know, man. Like, I just don't know enough about the topic. Okay, that's admitting that you don't know something in a self-assured way because you're being honest about it. You're being real. You guys have heard me talk about congruence before, and that folds in with this as part of self-assuredness, is that you are doing your best to express what it is that you're actually thinking, that you're actually feeling, or something that you want. If you have a desire, if there's something that you want, one of the easiest ways to see this either failing or succeeding is whenever guys will ask a girl, they'll ask her to hang out or do something together, and that's the opposite of self-assuredness, because what that's saying to her is that's saying, I want to spend time with you, and I don't care what we have to do to make that happen. Do we need to go see Bridget Jones's Diary or something like that, or whatever you want, anything you want. That's supplicating behavior. That's nothing. And then they wonder, well, why doesn't she ever message me back about this? Look, Flip it around a little bit, right? Imagine if you were talking to one of your friends and you said, "Hey, we should hang out sometime." And he said, "Yeah, okay, sure." And then if you left it there, he's going to be like, "Okay, well, I guess he doesn't really want to do anything." Because usually you would follow it up with, "How about we do this thing?" Or "Let's do this thing." If you can't get a guy to hang out with you this way, how are you possibly going to get a girl to hang out with you and be interested in you with this line of conversation? It's obviously not going to work. So you need to actually tell her what it is that you want to do, what it is you are thinking, what it is you're feeling, any of that stuff, right? Instead of saying, "Let's hang out sometime," you should say, "Let's go get drinks. Thursday, 8 p.m., that work for you? Okay, let's go get dinner. I've seen this new Italian restaurant in town, and I've been wanting to try it out. Let's go try that out. Let's go ice skating. I saw that there's a public ice skating rink down by City Hall," or whatever it is. You need to make a suggestion. And a lot of guys act like they're afraid to make a suggestion because, well, what if she doesn't like that thing? Or what if she doesn't want to do that thing? Okay, she'll tell you, right? If you say, "Let's go for drinks," and she says, "Oh, I'd love to, but I don't drink." Okay, cool. Well, now you know. And so you say, "Okay, that's fine. How about then let's do this instead?" Fine. It's not getting shot down for her to not want to do the thing that you suggest. So guys will hold back from making a suggestion because they feel like they don't want to alienate her or they don't want to chase her away. Or, and this is the worst. This is the absolute worst mindset to have. A lot of guys will say, "I don't want it to sound like a date because then she might say no." My man, if that's a thing that you are ever having go through your head, then you are setting yourself up to be friend zoned like that because you're literally asking her to friend zone you. You want to ask her out, but you don't want her to think it's a date? Why? Are you trying to trick her or are you trying to just be friends? Neither of those is good if you're trying to date her, right? Sounds obvious when you say it, but a lot of guys will have this sticking point in their head of, "I don't want her to think it's a date because then she might say no." You need to be okay with that. You need to be okay with her saying, "Oh, sorry, I have a boyfriend," or even just, "Oh, sorry, I'm not interested in you that way." Okay. You've saved yourself time, money, heartache, and you've learned that this girl is no longer on the table. Now, occasionally, those girls will come back around later. I've had that happen many times, but it's not something you can count on. It's not something you can chase after. In fact, it's not even a hope that you should hold on to. You should just jettison her immediately from your mind because that's the goal. The goal is to filter out the girls who aren't interested and filter in the ones who are. I realize that a lot of guys they get this case of one-itis in their head of like, "Oh, but I'm only interested in this girl." That's fine. If that's the case, if that's where you are right now, you need to watch last week's stream, Live with Jack number 54, where I did a complete breakdown of how to get over one-itis. So definitely look into that if you're having these thoughts in your head of, "Oh, well, I would rather just be friends with her and then maybe it'll turn into something down the line." It's not how this works. That is not how this works. So definitely watch that video. Learn how to get past one-itis for sure. Self-assuredness is going to be one of the most important parts of communicating because if you're communicating, you need to get a point across to her. You need to get something across to her. It could be some form of information. It could be some emotion. It could be a desire. It could be a suggestion. It could be any of these things. But if you don't say it in a way that she feels is true, is congruent, is real, then it's not going to stick at all. Best case scenario, she thinks, oh, he's saying what he means, but he probably doesn't really want it, at least not that much, because he's not saying it sincerely. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is she just thinks that you're lying and trying to trick her. Remember how I said just a minute ago that that's a bad idea? Don't do that. You don't want that. You don't want to come across as someone who's trying to trick her, someone who's trying to deceive her, someone who's trying to lie to get into her pants. And if you say things in that way, in that, oh, well, maybe we can, I don't know, do something, do anything, that's how it's going to come across. So do not do that. You need to focus on making all of your sentences, all of your statements, all of even your questions. They all need to come from a place of self-assuredness where you know this is what I want to say. This is what I want to express. Whenever your brain starts thinking, but what if she doesn't like that? Tell that part of your brain to fuck right off. Punch it in the face, because that's your ego trying to protect your gentle little feels, and that ego is your enemy. That ego is trying to stop you from getting a date. Your ego is your enemy. I've talked about this at length before, but I constantly keep coming back to it because this is, if you learn nothing else from me, if you only watch just 30 seconds of my video, and that's the only thing that you remember out of the hundreds of hours of content I've made, if the only thing you remember is your ego is your enemy, then this will have been absolutely worthwhile. You need to remember that your ego is your enemy. That thing that's trying to protect you is not trying to protect you. It's trying to stop you from getting the things that you want. So you need to tell your ego to fuck right off whenever it starts thinking, oh, but what if she doesn't like that? Or what if she doesn't agree? Good. Lean into that. Lean into that. You might be wondering to yourself, but Papa Jack, what if my ego's right? You know, like what if she doesn't like what I suggest? Or what if she doesn't agree with what I say? That's good for you. That's good for you. Because first of all, it demonstrates high levels of self-assuredness if you're okay with people disagreeing with you. But second, it's good because now she's paying attention. If she only agrees with everything you're saying, then she's not paying attention. She's not invested. She's not involved. Because who needs to be involved with something that agrees with everything they believe, right? It would be like watching a Disney movie that didn't have a villain. Like, okay, cool. So Snow White just kind of hangs out in the forest with the dwarves and they eat and play with birds and shit. It's boring. It's not interesting. It doesn't cause you to pay attention, to become emotionally invested. You need to have some sort of back and forth, some sort of push and pull. If you can't do that, or if you're not comfortable doing that, then you need to practice it. Practice it with your friends. Practice it with yourself. Practice it with your family, for all I care. Practice disagreeing with people. Practice saying things that people are going to disagree with. I'm not saying to be a complete asshole. I'm not saying to go out and try to say inflammatory things just to piss people off. That's not the point. The point is that when you become comfortable with saying things and people saying, I don't agree with you, can you explain why you think that? Or I don't know if that's a good idea. How about we do this instead? You become comfortable with those situations, then you're no longer worried about what she thinks, about what you say, right? And then that helps you to develop that self-assuredness that I was talking about. Next, let's move on to this one. This is a fun reframe. Respect. Oof. Okay, so I'm going to be honest on this one. I got this reframe from a guy I saw on YouTube called Psych Hacks. And I thought that this was a really good reframe. And so I'm going to kind of give you my version of what it was that he said. And what he talked about in his video was that men grow up being taught to respect women. But the way that men view respect is not the same way as what you actually want to do with women. And in our minds, in men's minds, whenever we think of respect, somebody who you respect, we think of somebody who you admire, somebody who you look up to, somebody who has done things that make you want to be more like them, somebody who you would defer to in a situation if they have a different opinion or a different idea than you. For example, if I have an opinion about what I think Twitter should do with its advertising model, and Elon Musk says, well, we thought about that, but it doesn't work because of these things, so we're going to do this instead. I would immediately defer to him and say, oh, you know what? Hey, if you've thought about it, you've already looked at it, you probably know better than I do. Probably, right? Because I respect him, especially in the field that I'm talking about, in the idea of Twitter and advertising and things like that. So that's respect in the way that men view it. Or we view respect in the way that people make great accomplishments. You respect Michael Jordan for his incredible basketball career. You respect Michael Jackson for seamlessly blending 4 or 5 different styles of music together in one, and then still being able to sell it and package it to a mass market. Like, people who do amazing things and accomplish amazing things are worthy of respect. Is the girl at the bar sipping on an appletini worthy of respect? Maybe, maybe not. You don't know. You don't know anything about her. And so the idea of being in a default state of respect doesn't make any sense, because you don't have that same feeling whenever you see another guy at the bar either. If you just gender swap those two and you saw a guy at the bar drinking an appletini, do you automatically respect him? No, of course not, because why would I, right? And so instead of respect, we're not going to go to disrespect, because that's not what we're aiming for here. Disrespect is a whole different thing, because both respect and disrespect are earned states. They're states that come about because of something that you do or something that you say or some actions that you take or don't take. Instead, we go for consideration. Consideration is a much better frame to put on this than respect. So, do you consider what someone else is going to feel about a given situation or about a given, suggestion or anything like that? Yeah, sure. That makes sense. Consideration matters. And that's the frame that you should put on this. So instead of the idea of respect women, instead of that, where you're putting them on a pedestal and saying, oh, I'm not worthy, oh, please pay me attention, or something like that. Instead of that, you need to offer consideration whenever something comes up. Maybe there's a difference of opinions or a difference of feelings on something. You can consider it. It doesn't mean you're going to acquiesce and necessarily do what she wants. I'm not talking about deference. I'm talking about consideration. You'll hear what she's thinking. You'll hear what she's saying. And then you will make a decision about what it is that you want to do or how you want to respond to that. That is very different from respect, but that is actually what you should be viewing this as. So instead of the idea of respect women, or even just people in general, because respect is earned, not given. Instead of the idea of respect people, consider people. Just allow that other people can have different thoughts than you, have different opinions, and maybe you will agree with them. Maybe you'll go along with them. Maybe you'll negotiate something out, because honestly, 90%, maybe even more than that, of the world is a great big negotiation. It's all a trade-off. Everything's a trade-off. So when you're talking to somebody and you come to some sort of a disagreement or some sort of impasse, you can negotiate. A negotiation doesn't always mean that you move, though, because sometimes the best negotiation tactic is, I'm not moving. I'm staying right where I am. You have to consider what the other person is saying, what they're offering, what they're talking about, and then make your decision. So toss the idea of respect out the window. Toss the idea of putting women on this pedestal and making your whole life about this girl or about that girl, or oh, I do everything to please you, to make you feel better. Stop that. Stop that. Also, on top of it being bad for you, because she's not going to respect you back, not for acting like that. On top of that, it's just really, really weird and it's really creepy. And in my experience, the guys who do this kind of thing, who have this high regard and high respect for women and put them on this pedestal, are also the same guys who are most worried about coming off as creepy. So understand that that is the creepiest thing you can do. That is really weird. So don't do that. Don't do that. That is not what you want to do. Nobody loves adulation and adoration like that. I do understand the mindset that thinks, well, I would like this done to me, so I will do it to them. But you wouldn't actually like that done to you. Even though you think you would, you feel like you would, you wouldn't, because it's really weird if some stranger comes up to you and it's like, oh, you're amazing, you're so fantastic, oh, you're the greatest thing that's ever walked the earth. You're like, what the fuck? Why would you say any of that? Why would you do this? What do you want? Same thing, right? And if they're like, no, it's just by simply the virtue of you existing. That's really, really weird. That's some crazy people shit right there. Don't do that. Definitely do not do that. So if you still have this idea in your head of women are perfect, women can do no wrong, we must respect them, respect women, they are the arbiters of truth and justice and all that is great and wonderful and beautiful in the world, just remember that after a night of drinking and Taco Bell, she still has diarrhea, just like everyone else. So don't forget that they're just human, man. Consideration is much better than respect. Next, be aware of your image. What does that mean, to be aware of your image? Most guys never consider this. And I know some of you right now, you're thinking, oh, you're talking about my physical attractiveness. Well, it's not my fault that I'm born ugly, or it's not my fault that I'm too busy to go to the gym, or like, come on. First of all, yes, it is. You can make time for it. But that's actually not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just your physical appearance. I'm talking about the image that you give off to people. I'm talking about all parts of it. What are you wearing? How do you come across? What kind of face do you have? Do you have a soft, playful face? Do you have a childlike face? Do you have a serious looking face? Do you always look angry even when you're not? Do you have the male equivalent of a resting bitch face? Do you have a clown looking face? What do you look like? What are people getting? And then on top of that, what do they get when they hear your voice? Because your voice is a big part of what people are going to get when they're talking to you. Okay, when they hear my voice, what does it sound like to them? Do I have deep sonorous tones that they hear whenever I speak? Do I sound like Morgan Freeman? Do I sound soothing? Do I sound excited? Do I sound energetic? Do I sound bored? How do I sound whenever I talk to people? It's something to consider. And you can think of people in each of these categories that I just listed off, right? Like if you think, I mean, I don't know if some of you guys are old enough to remember this guy, but you can Google him. If you look up Ben Stein is famous for having the most boring voice on the planet. That guy, no matter how excited he is about the topic that he's talking about, just sounds boring as shit, right? Or Maybe you have a different kind of voice altogether. Maybe you sound, no matter how quiet or how boring the topic is, you sound deeply excited about it, and you can make other people feel excited. Like if you've ever watched a David Attenborough documentary, man, that guy can talk about grasshoppers for an hour and a half, and I'm sat there with just rapt attention. Tell me more about the grasshopper, Sir David Attenborough, right? Like, your voice matters a lot. Be aware of that. Your physical image, what people get from you, your voice, your face, your eyes. Do you have good eye contact? Do your eyes open wide when you're talking? Do you look intense? Do you look scary? Or do you look very calm and sedate all the time? Or what are people getting from you? Most guys never think of this. You need to pay attention to it. Even the clothes that you're wearing. I mean, I'm wearing a t-shirt that says, "This guy needs a beer." And I'm wearing shorts that have chicken wings and hot sauce on them. When I wear this, what do people get? They get, well, this is either an absolute crazy person or some dude who just loves to party. I'm okay with either of those. But here's the thing, is that I am aware of what image I am giving off when I wear this. You need to also be aware of what it is that you're wearing, of how you look in it, of what people are going to get from you when they first meet you, when they first see you. Be aware of your image, your total image, not just your physical appearance. Now, the things that you say can also significantly affect your image. Back to the example I gave earlier of Elon Musk. What is Elon Musk's image? Ooh, that's a lot, right? That's a lot. Maybe you think of him as an evil capitalist billionaire, or maybe you think of him as a genius inventor, or maybe you think of him as just a lucky fuck who happened to be in the right place at the right time a lot of times in a row. Or maybe you think he's just some agitprop sent in by the deep state, or like there are so many different things because there's so much of him out there. But none of that is related to his physical appearance. His physical appearance is the least part of the image that you have of Elon Musk. That's what I'm talking about whenever I say image, is the total package, not just what someone looks like. I hope that makes sense for you. Now, let's move on. This is our next one. Men are not women. Also, women are not men. This is an important thing to really drive home in your mind. And I know a lot of you out there are probably saying, well, of course I know that, Jack. That's why I'm able to talk to men, but I'm not able to talk to women. That's the problem here. Okay. Yes, fine. Deal with steps 1 and 2 and 3 first. And then you'll be able to talk to women. But how you talk to them is very different, because that's what we're on to now for part 4. The ways that men and women communicate are vastly different. And I've talked about this before, but women, well, let's start with men, because men, this one's a lot easier. Men largely communicate to exchange information. This video you're watching right now is just to exchange information. Now, you might enjoy drinking along with me. You might enjoy my shitty jokes throughout. You might enjoy my ridiculous fashion terrorist sense of clothing style. But those are all secondary to the information. The whole point of this video, the whole point of why I'm making it, of why you're watching it, is to exchange information. This is the same whenever you're talking with your friends, whenever you're talking with any guy. You are exchanging information. What did you think of this movie? Oh, I thought that movie sucked because this and this. Oh, really? I thought that movie was great because this and this. Okay, I guess we disagree, but that's all right. No accounting for taste. Let's have a drink anyway. Cheers. Simple. We're just communicating information, communicating our thoughts, communicating our feelings, communicating our plans. What are you doing on Thursday? I have something going on at 5 o'clock, but I'm free after 8 if you want to hang out. Okay, cool. Let's play Call of Duty. Pure information exchange. That's it. And that's 90+% of the reason that men communicate at all. Women, however, communicate for the sake of enjoying communication. They just like it. They like it. They like talking. They like chit-chatting about nothing. Just talking. Just being in company with people. Having people around to just talk about things. I don't know, stuff. Because it's fun to talk. It's a completely different mindset. Now, with that said, once you just understand that basic idea, of course, you guys are smart enough to know this, right? This is not all men, not all women. Yes, some women communicate to exchange information. Yes, some men enjoy chit-chatting. Okay, but we're generalizing because there's no point in trying to get down to individual things here, right? So you understand that I'm not talking about every woman or every man. That would be a ridiculous statement to make. But now that we understand the broad generalizations, how does that affect your communication style whenever you're talking to women? One of the mistakes that a lot of men make is that they try to talk to women like they talk to men. This is especially true when they're texting them, is men will be direct and to the point. They'll just shoot a quick little message that is, let's meet this place this time, see you there. And that's it. That doesn't work for women. And so a lot of guys will go way the other direction and send her messages. Hey, how's your day going? Hey, how are you feeling? What's going on? How are you? That's the opposite, right? That's trying to chat just to chat with them, which is weird. Why is that weird? If women just enjoy communication, because you're not communicating anything. You're not asking her, hey, how are you after your surgery? That must have been hard. Okay, that's a great question right there because you paid attention to a thing she said. Yeah, she was having a small surgery on her knee or something. Okay, how are you feeling? Are you able to walk well? Okay, cool. Now we're communicating, and now it's more than just diarrhea of I want to talk to you, please pay attention to me. Instead of that, you are to a point, but you're engaging in conversation. That's better. That's like level 1. Okay, that's level 1, is engaging in conversation about a thing she wants to talk about. But what you really want to do is you want to get better than that. You want to be able to communicate with her in a way that is enjoyable to her and enjoyable to you. Well, how do you do that, Jack? You make things more exciting. You make things more exciting. So instead of saying, hey, how are you feeling after your knee surgery? Are you having any trouble walking? Instead, you send her something that's like, hey, Lieutenant Dan, how's everything going? Can you still feel your legs? Okay, you make it a joke, right? Because if you know Lieutenant Dan, Forrest Gump, got his legs cut off, I can't feel my legs. Okay, you have to be a certain age to have seen Forrest Gump and get that joke. Maybe you're 21 and you're talking to 18-year-old girls. Don't use that joke. Also, I'm giving you a really specific situation. The principle remains the same, though. The principle remains the same of take it from level 1 of let's talk about a thing that has happened. I remembered a thing. I paid attention to a thing. Oh, good job. Into let's make a joke about it. Or let's make it exciting. Let's turn it into something more fun. Making jokes about like, oh man, I'm going to have so much fun making you pop wheelies in your new wheelchair or something like that. You make jokes, have fun, have a laugh about it, because if you are engaging in the conversation in a way that's fun for her, because it's still just chit chat, just kind of pointless, no information, just bullshit, but it's funny, it's exciting, it gives her ups and downs, it gives her these different feelings and emotions. Great. You don't need to do that when you're talking to a guy. Why? Because you don't care what the guy thinks. You don't care if he wants to get in your pants or not. I mean, actually, you kind of do care because you don't want that. But the point is that you aren't trying to seduce this guy. You aren't trying to get him interested in you, so you don't need to make things more exciting for him, because it doesn't matter. If he doesn't want to do the thing with you, then he'll just say, no, I don't want to do the thing. But if he does, then he wants to do it, so he'll do it with you anyway. It's a lot simpler than dealing with all of this other stuff. I understand that, but this is the reality. So, given the options of one, getting good, like practicing this, learning how to converse with women, learning how to make it interesting, entertaining, how to really get her involved in the conversation and enjoy it, and you do well with women. Or two, don't do that and don't do well with women. Or three, just choose to be gay, I guess. I don't know, right? Like there's not really a third option there. Not really. Anyhow, with that said, let's move on to number 5. Number 5, you need to craft your offer intentionally. If you guys have been watching this stream for a while, then you'll remember that several months back, the kid, do you remember how long ago it was? Maybe you can find that stream and link it in the description underneath this, the kid. But a while back, I did an entire stream about how to craft your offer and why most guys fail at this, because they don't realize what it is that they're trying to ask a girl for, or what it is that they're offering, because you have to offer something. If you're asking for something in return, you have to offer something. Now, in the case of our example earlier, you are asking your friend to play Call of Duty with you. Okay, cool. You might be thinking to yourself, well, Jack, I'm not offering him anything in that situation. I'm just asking him to do something with me. Okay, but it's a thing that he wants to do, right? So asking him to play Call of Duty with you is fun for you and it's fun for him. Now, imagine if instead you said, hey, how about today you just come over to my place and just watch me play Call of Duty. Don't play with me. Just watch me play. Well, now you're asking for something. What are you offering in return? Now, if you said like, hey, how about you just come over here and watch me play Call of Duty while my harem of concubines pleasures you in all ways possible. Oh, well, now the offer is great, right? Now the offer is far superior to play Call of Duty with me. The offer is still part of it. No matter what it is that you're asking for, or even a suggestion or anything like that, you're asking for something. You are offering something in return. That something could be nothing, which in most guys' cases, it is. And they don't realize that they're making an offer, but their offer is nothing. So basically, they're making an ask, but they're not offering anything in return. They're saying, give me this thing. Even just give me your attention. For what? Nothing? Okay, not a good offer. Not a good offer. Now, if you're saying, spend time with me and talk with me because I am fun and you're going to have a great time talking with me, and I want to talk with you, so I will have a great time talking with you. Okay, now you have an offer. But if that's your offer, you need to be able to demonstrate that up front. You need to be able to actually back that up by telling her, or by showing her rather, because you show, don't tell, by showing her that you are fun to talk to, that she's having a good time talking with you. This is why if you see a guy approach a girl and it ends with her giving her number, it's because she had a good time in that conversation and she wants to repeat that situation again. Basically, he came up and he showed what his offer was, and she said, yeah, I'm willing to give you some of my attention in exchange for spending time with you, because that was fun. That made me feel good. That made me feel interested. That made me feel emotions. It made me feel things. That's interesting. You need to know what your offer is and craft it intentionally. So if all you're offering is good conversation, that's fine, but you need to practice your conversation skills and get good at it. Because if you can't get good at the conversation, then it's a shit offer, isn't it? So if you're offering just conversation, just hanging out and spending time together, that's fine. Now, a lot of guys will make some other kind of offer. They'll basically say, okay, I'm shit at conversation, so I'll buy you dinner to spend time with me. All right, that is an offer, but be aware that that's a dangerous road to go down, because now you're creating financial transactions as your offer. That means that in her mind, what you're training her to see and what you're training her to think about you is, this guy is great because he will pay me money for my attention. Now, if he ever stops paying me money for my attention, why would I give it to him then? Because he's not fun to be around. So whenever I said this guy is great, I don't mean this guy is great. This situation is great. I like getting paid money to just pay attention to him. That's fine. I don't care. But if the money stops, so does the attention. Be aware, if the offer you're making is solely, I will buy you things if you'll pay attention to me, then you are exchanging attention for money. And if the money ever stops, or if the money ever gets lower, or if anything like that happens, the attention will go with it. So be careful going down that route. Now, I can understand some guys who feel like, okay, maybe I'm not great at expressing my conversation abilities early on. Maybe I'm a little bit, I fumble over my words sometimes. I'm not that charming or charismatic at first, but I do feel that I have a lot more to offer her if she can spend time with me. Okay. In that case, you're gonna need to find some other way to make your offer. And your offer doesn't have to be financial, by the way. Like, you can still offer an exciting time, an exciting adventure of some kind, right? Like the ice skating example I gave earlier. Let's go ice skating together. Okay, great. That's something interesting that by itself is a good offer. And then you can show her more about yourself. So this is a better way to go about setting up dates, is finding something that creating an offer intentionally that fits your skill sets, your personality, what it is that you have to bring to the table, what it is you have on offer. Understand what the reality is of your situation, what you can offer, and what your goal is to try and get her to understand this part of your offer better. Okay. Which could be your personality or your some kind of qualities or characteristics or something. Craft your offer intentionally. But just remember that nice is not an offer, right? Um, this is fun. So a few years back, there was a big study done on attractive women. Basically, these researchers, they got a list of like 200 women or so, and they had a bunch of male volunteers just rank them on attractiveness, 1 to 10, and then they contacted the top. It was 50, 75, something like that. They contacted the most attractive women in the group, and they had them participate in this survey where they asked them basically 120 different questions about what it is that they want in a romantic partner. And the answers, basically, the base answer was everything, right? They want everything. Big surprise, right? But the ones that they were least excited about, the ones that mattered the least to them, they would rather have it than not, but it wasn't important at all to them. 3 traits that weren't important: intelligence, kindness, and loyalty. So if you think your offer is, well, but I'm smart and I'm nice and I'm loyal, I'd never cheat on you. Oh shit, son. You've just picked the 3 traits on offer that women care the least about. So figure out what it is that you can offer. And if you don't have something else right now, work on that, right? Work on yourself. Don't be afraid to make some changes to yourself. Don't be afraid to hit the gym if you need to. Don't be afraid to practice your conversation skills and fail. Don't be afraid to learn how to improve yourself. And if you're not sure how to do that, you can pop over to realjacknorth.com right now and you can sign up for a free call with me where I will give you a guided, personalized plan of how to improve yourself, how to get better at these different things, and learn how to actually make an offer that's going to impress and attract women. So if that's what you need to do, if your big offer is, I'm smart, I'm kind, and I'm loyal, I highly recommend going over to realjacknorth.com right now, signing up for a free call with me, and learning how you can change things around to actually impress and attract women for free. So, with that said, let's move on just real quick. I know I've been going for a long time, but number 6, I wanted to bring this in, so it's just a little bonus thing here at the end. Entertain yourself. Entertain yourself. This comes back to what I was saying earlier about how to have conversations with women and how to make them more engaging, more exciting, how to get her into it more. And it's the easiest way to do that is to start to entertain yourself. Like earlier, I made that stupid Forrest Gump joke. Okay, cool. Does it matter to me if she doesn't know Forrest Gump? No, actually it doesn't, because first of all, it made me laugh. Second, if she says, Lieutenant Dan, who's that? Then I can send her a GIF of Lieutenant Dan sitting there on the boat with no legs, just waving, right? Like, there is a fun follow-up that even though she's still going to be confused. Do you know what happens? By the way, do you know what happens whenever somebody makes a joke and the other person doesn't get it and feels confused? Do you know what happens? You might think to yourself, oh, I would feel like an asshole because I made a joke and she didn't get it, so it didn't land. Wrong. It's the other way around. Whenever a joke is made that someone doesn't get, most times they'll just play along and pretend that they get it. Because unless it's obviously like some stupid, some joke about a little minute thing like, oh, it's from this one episode of this anime from 1992 or something like that. Like, okay, that doesn't have high cultural relevance. Unless it's something like that, most people will just, yeah, okay. And they'll play along because they feel that they have missed the boat. They feel like they're the dum-dums for not getting a reference like that, right? Like a largely culturally relevant reference. So make your jokes, entertain yourself, say things that make you laugh, turn the conversation in ways that are unexpected, that don't make sense to her, but that you find funny. That is the best way to, first of all, show that you're self-assured, show that you're leading the conversation. 2, to keep her on this weird roller coaster of like, wait, where's he going with this? Oh, I don't know what's happening now, but this is kind of fun. It looks like it's fun. He's having a good time. And 3, to keep her paying attention. Because if she understands everything that you're saying, if she agrees with everything that you're saying, then she's bored and she's not paying attention. So if you're throwing out things every now and then, throwing out jokes that maybe she doesn't get, maybe you're making puns that are stupid, terrible puns, but you think they're funny, they still stand out as, okay, he's pretty witty, right? Like, even if I don't like that sense of humor, it still works. Superman is about to make 40K jokes mainstream. I don't know why that would be the case, but okay, Coot. So, these are your keys to communication. This has been nearly an hour long that I've just been running this by myself. I need to go ahead and bring the kid in so that we can actually hit the Q&A today before we completely run out of time. So, That's all the things that you need to know about why you can't talk to girls. If after that you're still having some questions, you still have some troubles, some issues, things that you're not sure about, things you don't know how to work with, you need to. The actor is making a Warhammer TV show. Henry Cavill? Probably. I know that he likes games a lot. He likes nerdy stuff. He's a pretty cool dude like that. Anyway, if you're still having trouble with talking to women, or you need to improve yourself, you're not entirely sure how to do it, what you need to be working on, what kind of path you need to take, hop over to realjacknorth.com right now. You can sign up for a free call with me. I will personally help you make a plan for success with women. So get to that right now. On that note, let's bring in the kid. What's up, the kid? How are you doing, buddy? Oh, it looks like maybe he's not there. Did we catch him going AFK? Maybe. Well, I'm just going to chat with Coot for a minute here. So, Coot, are you talking about Henry Cavill? Is he making a Warhammer 40K show? Probably. The kid, if you're there, the kid, we can't hear you. I can't hear you at all. Okay, your Wi-Fi is too slow to speak. All right, type your questions for me into the Kakao, and I'll just read them out loud and answer them. And also, Coot, if you have any questions on this or any other topics, type them in. Or if any of you other guys do, this is the time and place for it. Oh, ignore me? That's weird, but okay. All right. So when it comes to speaking to women, you covered a lot of theory, but what about the guy who just says, what topics should we bring up? All right. What topics should you bring up? Cheers. If you're asking what topics to bring up, you're missing the point. You want me to basically just give you a blueprint of say these words and then she will love you. If you say these words, she will love you. That's not how this works, man. Like, I can tell you what topics I talk about, but that doesn't apply to you. It needs to be things that are related to you. And are you talking about topics to bring up whenever you first approach a girl? Are you talking about topics to bring up? Angel, I'll get to you in just a moment. Are you talking about topics to bring up when you first approach a girl? Are you talking about topics to bring up when you're on a date? Are you talking about topics to bring up over text? Okay, I'll just answer all three of those in that order. First, you want to know what to bring up when you first approach a girl? Your name. It's a good start, probably the most important start. And then you can start chatting about something. Now, off the top of my head, I can't remember them all, but there are 5 different types of openers that I listed out in my Game in a Nutshell blog article and video. You can find the blog article on thesoulplayer.com. It's called Game in a Nutshell. It's one of the two articles with that name on there. And in it, I break down the 5 different types of openers specifically of one of them is observation, right? So like you notice something about her or about a situation around you, something like that. You can, oh, those are really cool earrings. Where did you get them? Oh yeah, that's also my favorite place to buy earrings. Okay. It's funny because, I don't have any earrings. Hey, I really like your hair color. I was thinking about doing the same thing. Okay. Right. You can open up with anything like that. And then just go into, oh, by the way, I'm Jack. What's your name? Cool. So, and then you start chatting, right? And you can talk about about anything. About anything. You can talk about what you're doing today. You can talk about something that you're thinking about. You can talk about asking her opinion about something, which is also a great opener. You can talk about fucking anything. Like, the topic is not what's holding you back if you're having trouble talking to women. Because, and okay, so to exactly this point, one of the exercises that I do with guys whenever we have boot camps is we do line exchanges. So I will come up with the 3 most ridiculous opening lines I possibly can, and I'll send those to them. And they will also do the same to me. They'll send me the 3 most ridiculous opening lines they can think of. And then we trade back and forth. I have to use their lines that they made. They have to use the crappy lines that I made. You have to go up to a girl, use that line to open up, and then try to get her number. And what happens every single time is at the end, they're like, oh my God, Jack, you mean it doesn't matter what I say or what I talk about? It doesn't matter at all, does it? Yeah, I know. That's the point of this exercise, because if I tell you that, you're not going to understand it. But if I show you, if you do it, and you see, wait, they're still just as responsive whenever I open up with some stupid line about, I hope her name is Pikachu because I choose you. Or like, fucking stupid shit, right? And they still respond well. Why? Because when you're delivering stupid lines, the only way to deliver them is with an overabundance of confidence and self-assuredness. And that's the actual answer. You could have the greatest lines in the world, the greatest topics in the world, but if you're not delivering them with confidence and self-assuredness, they fall flat completely. So that's why I'm telling you, forget about the topics. It doesn't matter. As to what to talk about on dates, whatever you're interested in, find your common interests, talk about something. If you're not sure, there's a whole video about games to play on dates that I made. You can, like the question game, I've explained that before on the stream. You can use the question game back and forth. You can use never have I ever. You can like just kind of getting to know each other, fun stuff, silly things like that on a date. As far as what you should talk about over text, topics to talk about over text, nothing. The only thing you talk about over text is setting up the date. That's really the only thing that matters. There shouldn't be any chit chat or conversations happening over text. That's boring. That doesn't work well. It absolutely does not play to your strengths as a man. Do not fall into the trap of trying to chat with a girl over text to get to know each other. Total noob trap. Don't do it. Now, let's jump to our next question. Yes, the question game is OP, Coot. It's really good. All right, this is Angel. Are pickup lines a thing in Korea? I asked some Korean friends and girls, and mostly they don't know about it. What is your opinion of pickup lines? Okay. So here's the thing. Pickup lines, first of all, pickup lines, the idea, like the common conception of pickup lines are really, really, really bad. Because they're so cheesy and stupid, right? Like the whole, oh, did it hurt? What hurt? When you fell from heaven, did it hurt? Yeah, like they're cheesy and they're stupid and they're bad. However, if you're a foreigner in Korea and you learn some Korean cheesy pickup lines, they kill. They are absolute monsters because it's so unexpected to have some foreigner guy come up and give you like some 60-year-old chat up line, right? They're like, what the fuck is going on? It works because it's a pattern interrupt, because it breaks all of her preconceptions of what she thinks is happening. And so if you can learn some of these pickup lines, like one, first of all, what they're called in Korean, the term for pickup lines is jakop mentu. Jakop mentu. And so if you can ask your Korean friends for some, the cheesier the better, the worse the better. one that I've used at a bar before. So there was a girl sitting down at a bar, and I went up to her and I said, "별자리는?" And that means like, what's your sign? And she's, huh? And I said, 나는 옆자리. And that means like the seat next to you. And I sat down next to her. And it's so cheesy and so stupid that she just cracks up laughing. And she's like, what the fuck is this? Am I being punked or what's going on? And then you're like, no, I just wanted to see if this worked. By the way, I'm Jack. And then, oh, now you're in. You've made her laugh. If you can make her laugh with your line, she's interested. That means she's paying attention, right? So remember that the way that this goes is, hold on, I need to make sure I do it this way so that it makes sense to you guys left to right. First, you need her attention. Attention can turn into interest. Interest turns into attraction. So you need to go in that order. First, you need to get her attention. And if you can't get her attention, pickup lines work because they get their attention, but they don't work if it's something that they've heard a lot of times or if it is expected almost, right? So they work when they're unexpected. Now she's paying attention because it's a foreigner delivering the line. Then she's thinking, wait a minute, how does a foreigner know this line? Is he like some like Korean born white dude or something, or is he just like a master player or whatever? Oh, now she's interested, and now is your opportunity to turn that into attraction by building her attraction through your conversation with her. So, do pickup lines work in Korea? Yes, if they're delivered in a fun and silly way, right? If like we both know this is a joke, I'm in on the joke with you. That's why it's funny. Pickup lines absolutely can work. Next, why can we talk with a girl in a situation X, a girl A in situation X, but not girl B in situation Y? Like sometimes it's super comfortable to approach, and others it's just nope. Okay. I kind of understand what you mean, but Coot, if you can give me an example, I'll definitely be able to explain it better. So, a lot of it is in your head, and I'm assuming that what you're talking about is I'm able to talk to a girl when we're out at a bar, and I see her sitting by herself, but I'm not able to talk to a girl at a cafe who I see sitting by herself. Okay. There are a few parts to that. One is you definitely get into your own head about it, and you start thinking, oh, well, this is a place where people are expected to approach and to talk to each other, but not in the cafe, right? Okay. So people can get into their own heads about it, but there is a bit of a social truth to that in bars people expect to be approached, but in cafes they don't. That is true, but that doesn't mean that the cafe is bad to approach. So there are definitely pros and cons to both, where like in the bar, one of the biggest pros is there's drinking, right? Also, she's out there, even if she's not looking to be approached, she's expecting to be approached, right? However, on the downside, that also means that her defenses are quite high. She is expecting to be approached by men who she's not interested in. Even if she is out looking to meet men, she is still expecting some of the men who approach her to not be interested in, right? So her defenses are high, and she's absolutely ready to shoot down anyone who isn't delivering a game, right? Okay, yeah, so you wrote down bar versus cafe or one bar versus another. Okay, I'll get to that one in a minute. But in a cafe, you don't have the benefit of alcohol on your side. However, if a girl is sitting alone at a cafe, then you do have the benefit of time on your side, because, and I'm not saying to wait to approach her. That's always a bad move. If you're waiting, then she's gone, right? But you do have the benefit of time on your side, because a girl at a bar is not going to be alone for long. She's going to have her friends show up, or she's going to have some other guy swoop in, or she's just going to have a drink and leave if neither of those things happens. So she's not going to be alone for long. In a cafe, a lot of times girls will just set up shop for hours, right? And they'll just sit down. But minimum, they're gonna be hanging out there for at least half an hour. So you know she's not busy right now. Even if she's working on something, she's not probably not under a super strict deadline, or she wouldn't be doing it in a cafe, right? She would be like at home frantically working on something, or at work or at school or whatever, right? So she's taking leisure time out of her day. You have a lot more leeway there, and you don't have to be as impressively energetic in a cafe as you do at a bar. Because if you're in a bar, Coot, to answer your question specifically, because I know that you know these bars. So if you're in a bar like Corner Pub or Thursday Party, if you want to approach girls, you need to be high energy. Like, for you need to be super high energy, right? Like super high Coot level energy, because those are just high energy places. But in a cafe, you can be a little bit lower energy. You don't have to be as over the top, as clown. You can open up with some calmer entry lines. Use some of the elderly openers that I've talked about before, which basically, for those of you who haven't heard of this before, elderly openers are, if you were sat next to an old lady on an airplane, what would she be talking to you about? What would she ask you about? What would she, right? These are elderly openers because they're just comfortable. It's general social polite conversation, nothing too detailed, nothing too personal, right? Things like that. So you can use low energy, low key openers in a cafe. The reason that you can't approach is because it's in your head, because you worry about, oh, but what if, right? And it's the answer to all of your what ifs is the same in both situations, right? Like, if I see a girl sitting alone in a bar or in a cafe, and my brain says, what if she's waiting on her boyfriend? Oh, that's the same in both. What if she isn't interested in talking to me? Oh, the answer is the same in both. She's just going to tell me, sorry, I'm not interested. Sorry, I'm busy. Sorry, I'm doing something else. What if people see me fail? First of all, they fucking won't, because nobody pays any attention to other people in life. But even if they do, still, the answer is the same in both, which is they're going to see it and be like, at least he gave it a try. Or maybe they'll think, oh, well, that sucks. Or maybe they'll think, what a loser. But you don't know, because you never hear what people are thinking, and it doesn't fucking matter what kind of chemical reactions are going on in some stranger's skull. Like, the answers to all of these are exactly the same. So the only difference of why you can or can't approach in these situations is in your head. What happens if she's studying? That's never happened in a bar. Okay. What if she's studying in a cafe? What if she's looking at something on her phone in a bar? It's the fucking same, man. It's the same. Like, you're making things up to try and make excuses. This is what I'm saying, is it's in your head. It's in your head. You don't know if she's studying, or if she's reading for pleasure, or if she's answering messages from her dying grandmother, or if she's just flipping through Tinder and Instagram. Like, you don't know. You're making up excuses for her in your head. You're making this harder than it needs to be for yourself. Don't do that, right? Like, just don't. There's all of this is in your head. The only thing stopping you from approaching in these different places, man, I'm a big, oh, by the way, good news for everybody in Korea, at least. Korea on Monday lifted the mask mandate on public transit. So now buses and subways are back open to no masking, which also means you can get back to Subway Game. I love Subway Game. This is one of the best and the easiest ways to just start number farming. Just meet tons of girls very quickly, strike up short little 2-minute conversations. If it's fun, you turn it into a number, and you can, in a couple of hours, you can get at least, like, even if you suck at it, you can get 15 numbers in 2 hours. 15 numbers is enough to set up a date every night of the week for the next week, right? Like, all of this stuff. Now, the same goes for the Subway as it does for the cafe, which is, well, why do I feel like I can't approach on the Subway? Because it's in your head. It's in your head. You can approach. I guarantee you can approach, because I've done it dozens of times. So, and I've not only that, but I've taken my students from the boot camps to do it dozens of times. Like, this is totally a thing you can do. Most people don't, but so what, right? Like, most people also don't start their own business. It doesn't mean you can't. Most people don't drink beer at 2 p.m. on a Thursday. Doesn't mean you can't, right? You can do your different things. All right. Koreans are super shy, and myself too. What I'm trying to do is changing myself instead of changing them. Yes, that's exactly correct. That's exactly correct, Angel, is that you need to be focused on, like I was saying earlier in these bits, right? You can't change them because they are, for lack of a better word, in this instance of, it's 2 a.m. in Texas, you can drink at 2 a.m. The bars have to close down in Texas. It's illegal to sell any alcohol at all after 2 a.m. And stores have to stop selling liquor after 9 p.m. and they're not allowed to sell beer or wine after midnight. Bars and restaurants are allowed to serve alcohol until 2 a.m. and then they have to shut down. So I am drinking at the wrong time for both Texas and Korea. Hey! Sorry, got off track there. Changing yourself. All of these things. So for lack of a better term, they are your customers, right? You are trying to sell something to them. That's why I was talking about crafting your offer, right? You're trying to sell yourself to them. Why? Because they are the commodity, right? Like, dick is free. There's no girl in the world who has a hard time finding someone to bang. Now, finding someone who she wants to bang maybe is a different ball game, right? But for them, right, it's a buyer's market for them, and they are your customer, which means that yes, you need to make your offer more attractive. A lot of guys. So back to what I was saying at the beginning about self-assuredness. Let's stick with this analogy here of buyers and sellers. A lot of guys will try to win the sale by racing to the bottom of price, by basically saying, look, I'm willing to do anything you want. Okay, I'll do anything you want if you'll pay attention to me, if you'll touch my boner, right? Like, I'll do anything, whatever it is. It's fine. I'll do it. All right. So basically they're lowering their own price to nothing, but the offer still remains the same. But I need you to buy this. Okay. That doesn't work. Why doesn't that work? Well, I mean, we went through all the reasons why earlier, but imagine if somebody was like, listen, I know my product sucks, but I'll give you as many of them as you want if you'll just buy one, right? Like if you buy one, let's say I'm selling beer. Okay, I'm selling beers, and I say, look, I know my beer sucks, but if you'll just buy one beer, I'll give you like 100 more for free. Does that work? No, of course not, because nobody wants 100 free shit beers, right? Like, no, I would rather pay money and get one good beer than pay like $1 and get 100 really shit beers. That doesn't help me at all. I don't want that thing. And so trying to race to the bottom on price is the wrong way to go. In this case, price is what you're asking her to pay, what you're asking her to do in return for you, right? And you're offering whatever else in return. Instead, you raise the quality of the product, which is what you're talking about, Angel. You make the product better, and then people will happily pay a much higher price for it, right? Like, look, nobody is asking why Ferraris never go on sale, right? Like, of course they don't go on sale. It's a high quality product. The price is the price. That's all. Right? Like, so the same thing is true with relationships. If you create a high quality product, if you create a high quality version of yourself, then the price can be high. The ask can be high. And that's the real goal here, is if you work on yourself and if you improve yourself in ways that matter to them, which remember, intelligence, kindness, and loyalty are the 3 things that matter least to attractive women. So those are not the things to work on. Those are not the things to work on. But if you're improving your product, you're improving your quality as a man, then more people want what you're offering. And not only that, but they're willing to do a lot more for it, which in turn leads to more confidence, more self-assuredness, more options that you have at your disposal, meaning you're not willing to tolerate as much bullshit. There's changing yourself for the better and improving the quality of yourself, which is the product here, is going to have a multiplicative effect in improving every other aspect of yourself. It's not just additive, it's multiplicative. Every aspect of you that gets better doesn't just make you that, like, if your looks get that much better, then the difference is not that, right? The difference is now that times your personality. And if your personality gets that much better, then the difference isn't that on top, right? It's that times your personality and your looks, right? They all work together and they create a much better overall package. So even small changes in these different aspects of your life and in your game and in your ability to talk to women and deal with them and attract them and things like that, even small changes have massive outsized benefits to you. All right, let's see here. So you set a time when talking to a girl, and when you know the conversation is going anywhere, like 2-minute conversation. And after that, if you or her don't feel good, you just leave. Okay. So I'm assuming that you're talking about when you first meet a girl. Okay. You have a hard time saying no or just leaving something undone. All right. That's fine. We're going to fix that. We're going to fix that right now. So I'm assuming that you're talking about on first meeting with a girl, not like during a date. Because if during your date, if your date is dying after 2 minutes, then you've really got to work on learning how to lead a conversation and improve things. But when you're just first meeting a girl or you're just approaching her, it can be hard to have a lot of time. So you do want to keep your conversations, generally speaking, under 5 minutes. Even 2 minutes is fine. 10 minutes would be a crazy long conversation for like a street approach. Now, if you're in a cafe or you're in a bar, obviously like depending on the situation, where you are, what's going on, these can last longer. They can essentially turn into instant dates. But for street approaches or just quick bar approaches, oh, I'm about to leave, I want to talk to her real quick before I go. Okay, sure, fine. Let's just use those as our baseline here. When you're talking to her, yes, you want to set a thing that you're going to do, but it needs to be there. You want to have a reason for this thing. So strike up a conversation with a girl, and then you guys start talking a little bit, a minute, couple of minutes, something like that. And then you propose something as a date, right? So back to the example I gave way earlier of ice skating. You say to her, hey, do you like ice skating? And it doesn't matter what she says. She says, oh my God, no, I hate ice skating. Or, yeah, I love ice skating. Or, actually, I've never been ice skating. I think it's really scary. No matter what it is, you say, okay, well, look, here's the thing. Is I just saw that they opened up an ice skating rink, a public ice skating rink down by the city hall. And I'd really like to go with someone. So even if you hate it, do you think that you could come with me and teach me how to do it, right? Because if you hate it, then that means that you must know how to do it pretty well and that you've made up your mind already. Or you love it. Great. So let's talk about it. So you like ice skating. Great. Awesome. So I just saw that they opened this thing up. Oh, you've never been. Oh, I just saw that they opened up this ice rink down by City Hall. Okay. Look, I would love to go and try it out. Now, I've only been ice skating once in my life. It was back when I was like 10 years old, and I fell down a bunch. But I think my balance is better now than it was when I was 10. So I'd like to give it another try. How about we go and check that out together? Yeah? Okay, good. And then you go to, now, just drop your number in my phone real quick. And by the way, I've told you guys this stuff before, but if you're going out to meet women, before you approach them, you should have your phone locked on the dialer screen like that. Or if you're going to use Kakao to add the ID, or WhatsApp, or whatever, it doesn't matter. You should have it on the screen where you want her to put her information in. Because the 10 seconds that it takes you to go from here to, okay, but just hold on a minute while I open up now where's that button to find you don't want that. So you say, okay, yeah, look, let's go sometime. All right. Here, drop your number in here and we can message, and I'll figure out the details, right? The dates and times, because I'm not sure what time they're open, but I'll message you with the details later and we'll figure it out and we'll go together. Okay. Does that sound good? Awesome. And then now you've got their number and you've set up a reason. First of all, a reason for the number. Second, the plans for what we're doing next, which in this case is I'm going to message you the details. And then you've got the first date set up. At that point, the conversation is over. If you try to stick around after that, that's when you get this feeling of leaving something undone. Because then it feels awkward. It's like, so we've made the plan, but like, why are you still here? Like, do you need something or what? Your goal is to lead the conversation in a fun way, and then ideally you have a date in mind, something that you want to do. We're not trying to ask her what she wants to do. Remember, self-assuredness, right? We're trying to figure out something that you want to do. I've been meaning to see this movie. I've been meaning to go to this restaurant. I've been meaning to visit this bar. I want you to come with me. Whatever it is. And you can have lots of things that you want to do, right? Like, fuck, I'd love to find someone to go play paintball with. Like, genuinely, I would want to. Now, would I use that as an ask? Absolutely, because it's a thing that I want to do. Say, you know what? I heard that there's some cool paintball, but it's a little bit outside the city. I'm trying to find someone to go with me because I don't want to go alone. But it's gonna be a little bit of a trip. I think that it's out in Gyeonggi-do somewhere. What do you say we go one Saturday? Let's just take a Saturday off and let's just go out there and we'll go play paintball and then we'll get some drinks and hang out and have a good time. Yeah, good. I think that sounds fun. Yeah, perfect. Something that you want to do, you're offering to bring her along with you on on an adventure, on something fun, and then now you have a reason to get her number, to exchange the information, to set up the details, and then you know what you're going to do next. Then there's no feeling of anything left undone. Does that answer your question, Angel? Oh, by the way, I totally forgot to mention this. You mentioned that when you feel like a conversation isn't going anywhere, you can feel a conversation kind of start to die down. That's the time that you make your offer, right? That's the time that you make your offer. It doesn't have to be there's no lead in necessary, right? Just, oh, by the way, have you ever played paintball? Or by the way, do you like ice skating? Or by the way, do you like whiskey? Fucking whatever, right? Whatever it is that's on your mind that you want to propose as the date. There's no lead in necessary to that. Okay, cool. Awesome. I'm glad that answers your question. Well, then, the kid, unless you have anything else for me, let's see if the kid has messaged me anything else. No. Okay. He says no. All right. Well, then, I believe we've answered all the questions for today. So, thank you guys for joining. Angel, Coot, thanks for joining in over there. The kid, find better Wi-Fi. But still, thank you for joining in anyhow. And for those of you who have watched, I always forget this thing, but whatever. If you've watched it this far, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't do it for yourself. Do it for me. Do it as a favor for all the free information and advice that I give you, because it feeds the YouTube algorithm. And we all know that is the true final boss of any interaction. So with all that, oh yes, Coot, good drinking. You know what? We'll finish this off with, let's see. Oh, the kid, you found internet
Oh, yeah.
just in time for the end of it. Whatever. All right, hold on. I'm gonna refill my glass. Coot, Angel, the kid, get your drinks ready. We're going to end this off with one final cheers with chaps before the end. Whew. Papa Jack's having some beer, huh? I've just smashed through 1,600 milliliters of beer. All right. So, gents, lift your... Oh, I don't have the sounder. Wait. I'm going to get the sounder ready. There it is. Cheers! And on that note, I will see you guys next time. Papa Jack.